Welcome to the 3 secrets to better managing your reserves. These 3 secrets will help you increase your home values by leveraging your reserve study. The first secret is about smoothing out your spikes to avoid fee increases and hidden surprises. The second spike is about comparing what-if scenarios in real time to help you protect your assets. And the third secret is about creating a record-keeping system to help reduce your liability. The single most important thing you can do to help avoid fee increases is smoothing out your spikes. As you can see on the right-hand side here, this is your anticipated expenditure schedule. And these spikes are the years and the list or the dollar value of the anticipated expenditures. Now I am going to go into our software program and show you how you can help avoid hidden surprises and fee increases by smoothing out these spikes. As you can see here, this is our real-time planning. Where we compare our funding plans. And I'm going to go into the report section and show you what these spikes look like. You can see here, this is one spike for about 1.1, 1.2 million. And this is another spike for about 1.4 million. And this is another spike for about 1 million, 1.1 million. And right now I'm just going to focus on this spike right here. And this spike is comprised of the list of anticipated expenditures you can see here. This is the work that needs to be done. This is the component name. This is actually a GL code. This is the category associated. This is the current replacement cost. And this is the future cost, the anticipated, which takes into account the inflation. So this $1.1 million down here is the sum of all of these expenditures projected in this 1 year. And as you can see here, they have some big expenditures. And what I want to talk about is what's actually going to be done. And I mentioned in an earlier video about what actually gets done versus what should be done. And so before we make any adjustments on this page, I'm going to go to our planning section and I'm going to show you what the recommended reserve contribution is based on this anticipated expenditure schedule, based upon what this capital plan is suggesting that the association is going to do. So you can see for them to be minimal threshold of cash flow positive above 0 for all 30 years, the association is being recommended to put away about $610,000 on an annual basis to have a minimal threshold of 5% of their replacement cost. So what we're going to go now is we're going to go back to the anticipated expenditure schedule. And what I'm going to share with you is what happens when you map the reality of what the board and management and the reserve analysts have decided they're actually going to do versus what the initial report said that they should be doing or assumed that they were going to be doing. And so what the board and management and the reserve analysts have come to conclude is that the paint exterior and waterproofing project, this $400,000 project, isn't going to be done in 2022. There's already a number of projects that they're going to be working on, the roofing project as well as some kitchen work in the clubhouse. And so what they want to see is what happens when we actually adjust this number and we move this project from 2022 into 2023. And as you can see there, I've updated that information. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go back into that plan that I had mentioned, and we're going to show that difference. Now, if you remember, that plan initially said the minimum recommendation that the board would need to contribute to fund their reserves on an adequately cash flow positive basis was $609,000. Well, what does it look like with them making that adjustment for that 1 year? That recommendation now went from a 609 to a 413. That's almost a $200,000 reduction in terms of reserve recommendation based on mapping the projects to the reality of what the board was able to actually do. And this is what I want to share with you. This is the big idea, is when you actually map the anticipated expenditure schedule to the reality, you could see kind of the adjustment of that spike. It's not as great anymore. And you can see that work now is in 2023, right? So when you map that work to the reality of what the association is actually going to do, you put less burden on your reserve contributions. And that's a huge savings for you and the rest of the owners, right? You're able to fund at a cash flow positive position, as I shared right here. You're able to fund at a cash flow positive position and not having to put that additional burden in terms of recommendation can really benefit you and your owners. And it's probably the biggest idea that we've learned by using this product in real-time planning for our customers, and ultimately saving them money while helping them keep and create a sustainable funding plan based upon what their needs or expectations are. So that's the first secret I want to share with you. The second secret I want to share with you is the ability to create real-time plans. And really our belief is the fact that your property is dynamic and so should your reserve planning. And so when you're able to create these what-if scenarios in real time at a board meeting, as I shared with you in the Smart Property Advantage section, as you're collaborating, whether you're doing Zooms or any other type of tools you're using to do your planning together, it just gives you the ability to see different scenarios and ultimately map in a way that best matches to how you want to protect your assets. So I'm going to go into the product again and share with you just what that looks like. So you can see here, this is a minimal threshold plan of $413,000, and I'll share with you what they're currently putting away. They're currently putting away about $75,000, and we know that $75,000 is just not enough. But we also know in reality, putting away $413,000 to get them to where they need to be today, it's just too big of a burden. So what the board wanted to look at was, what if we do a one-time special assessment? What would that look like? And so we were able to actually build in here a couple different special assessment models. So I'm going to actually go into another current plan, just call this special assessment. And we're going to call this $30,000 per unit. We're going to see what that does. Currently, they're putting away about 4% increases, assuming 4% increases on an annual basis to reserves. So there's 100 units here. So the $30,000 special assessment per unit would equal to 30 or 3 million. We're going to see what this plan looks like in real time. So you can see here, this is the threshold plan, and this is what they're currently doing. And this is their 30,000 per unit. And it doesn't get them cash flow positive over the 30 years, but it definitely does get them to a point where that additional $30,000 on a per unit basis will push out their needs in terms of, from a cash flow sustainability perspective of when they go zero, out to about 17 years, right? So this is just an example, and you can create, for example, we can go do another one. Well, what if we ended up doing a, 50,000 special assessment. So you can see there's the 50,000, almost gets some cash flow positive for the 30 years. And we know things are going to change a lot between now and then. But again, this gives you the ability to analyze different scenarios and ultimately build something in real time based upon the needs of you and the rest of the board and how you want to best protect the owners and your assets. And ultimately, this increases your engagement and the participation with your other board members, and ultimately helps people better understand how the sausage is being made. And you can do it in real time again, saving you that time and getting things done at those board meetings so that you can move on to the other items that you have to address. So this is secret number 2, which is really the real-time planning process and how it can help you better protect your assets. The last secret I want to share with you is really about creating a record keeping system to help you avoid mitigate your liability, reduce your liability, and giving you that instant, easy access to how decisions are made and having an easy tool to track all of your work history. Again, this is really about helping you reduce your liability in creating or adopting a record keeping system. So now I'm going to go into the system again, and I'm going to share with you this concept of creating a living history. So I'm going to go back into the anticipated expenditures and just share with you what the component history looks like. And so this is how everything is tracked here. You can add all your photos as well as your documentation. And you can see here that they've added their painting costs and estimates. And down here, everything is actually tracked. You know, this is secret number 3, which is something I added. Everything gets timestamped, so we're big believers in trust but verify. And then ultimately, you can track any of your decisions here, and so that as you pass on this process to the next board, you'll know that all of your decisions can be easily leveraged, so that new board can continue to make good decisions. And again, we track all your information, make, model, serial number. So through the data collection tool of our partner, everything is going to be instantaneously synced, and you can ensure that your assets are being cataloged and tracked in a manner that will ultimately protect them. And so this is secret number 3, which is really about reducing your liability and creating a system of record for tracking your information and your decisions for instant access.